some musicians who create and incorporate different aspects of artistic expression. They make use of many different mediums. The early days of MTV exploited this idea, combining music with video to ultimately create a change in how the pop music industry presented new artists and their music. Luke Ryan is one such person. His world ranges from music to visual art to film to the written word to social observations that range from bizarro carny to political satirist to observer of American behaviors and psychosis. Here is his introduction from his multi-platform productions on Mundo Bizarro Funhouse on the platform Patreon. Hurry, hurry, step right up. Here it is, kids, the Mundo Bizarro Funhouse. It'll mesmerize you, it'll sanitize you, it will crawl into your head and lay eggs. It delivers eternal salvation or triple your money back. You will experience deep trance, meditation, and terror. It's more fun than a monkey chewing on a hand grenade. Not for children, or anyone else. Batteries not included. I became a fan of Luke's still work on social media, which ultimately led me to wanting to find out more. So, I met this charming fellow at his headquarters and had a short introduction to his world. Luke's career started as a commercial illustrator, but diverged into the world of busking on the New York City subway system and performing in New York City bars as a guitarist-singer since the 1980s. Luke has relocated to the Albany area about 8 years ago and has returned to the visual arts part of his creative work. Almost on a daily basis on social media, Luke releases at least one of his spectacular graphite pencil renderings of a photo that is uncanny in its realistic reproduction. Choosing photos that on their own as a photograph provoke mystery that ranges from implied eroticism to hidden danger. Luke has done a masterful job of combining video collages and music that include all manner of life in America, from the political landscape to the absurd to the outlying reaches of imagination, hopped up at times on whatever mind-bending fueled person might find themselves taking on a night trip. Stay tuned to Empire Radio Sounds for a look at some of the work of this fascinating multimedia artist, followed by an interview with the man himself, Luke Ryan.
Shirt on my back. It ain't easy, brother. That's a fact. Oh. You know the score. Down rabbit rower, you power. You power. Ow. I worked a double shift all my life, trying to feed my daughter and my wife. Yeah, but lately there ain't been no overtime. And brother, I am down to my last dime. You know the score, that rub and roll. You power, you power.
District, the register of the world.
Terror. Oh. No money means terror. Oh, oh, no.
Every night when I crawl into my bed, I dream of different ways to stay ahead. But all of my dreams go up in flames, and this poverty is driving me insane. You know the score. Don't rub and roll. You power. You power. Oh.
Captain Mondo, Captain Mondo, come in, Captain Mondo, where art thou? Well, let me give this little introduction wherever the captain is. Luke Ryan, video maker, artist, musician, portrayer of the absurd American character just beneath or slightly above the surface. As I went and watched much of your video creations on Patreon, I see a pattern of using early 1950s, 60 TV bits and pieces. What is it about these first 2 decades or so of American television that serves you in your creations, Mr. French Love Passions?
Oh,
Captain Mondo.
oh, oh, Marcus, is that it's today?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
me.
I'm,
I'm
I'm
just
just,
catching up on some reading, some light reading here. Sorry
yeah,
about
I
that.
see it's some deep stuff here.
By the way, welcome to the Mondo Bizarro Funhouse.
Well, I feel
Pardon
better
me.
already.
Yes, you were asking why I psychically I honed into your first question, and you were asking how why am I here? What did you ask again?
It's okay. It was a long time ago. It was about 3 chapters in the French book there. Um, it's the first decades of American television that serves your creations. What
Oh,
is it about that time era in American TV that
because
inspires you?
it was so much fun. Everything was spontaneous, and you could believe everything. There was no AI. Soupy Sales was on the screen, and you knew he was there, and he was making mistakes, and that's a time that I want to go back to. You know, just having fun. I mean, there's something about preserving that portion of American psychohistory that is important for the young people of today to at least know about. And I feel I can be somehow the curator of this sort of thing through my whatever you want to call what I capture it with.
Well, I couldn't think of better hands for it to be in than Captain Mondo's. A couple of times I've traversed the universe with him. I'm going to move right on to this next question. You use a lot of dance bits, from hep jive zoot suit's jazz dancer to girls barely covered doing the dance of the day, usually early 1960s a la go-go boots sort of thing. They are fantastic for striking a humorous reaction. Why does that happen? Why is it
First,
humorous?
there's something like just so wonderful about a woman scantily clad dancing in any fabrication of your imagination. And in my videos, you don't have to stick a dollar anywhere. Very important.
Well,
So
I'll let the parents explain that to their children. Go ahead.
yes, you don't you children, by the way, do what I say, but not what I do. It's very important. Told that to my old daughter.
Well, there we go. There's a
Um,
disclaimer.
so part of it is too like a little jealousy because being a musician, I cannot dance. And I think that's a truism that musicians just can't dance. And it's funny, somebody moving
They usually
around to
can't, you know.
music is a spontaneously bizarre thing. And, and when you see it, you like if we were like invaded by aliens, they would say like they do this weird thing in clusters. They put up some head banging music and they all move around in the same way.
It
I
is
think
peculiar.
Yes.
It's very peculiar. I have to agree. It takes quite a bit of adult libations for me to really feel the
Which,
groove of dancing. But it certainly works in your artistic productions, and I would recommend anybody go to Patreon and look up Luke Ryan, Captain Mundo himself, and you'll see what we're talking about here. Really fantastic creative stuff. There's a bit where Uncle Bob tells a story of the ant and the grasshopper. I don't want to give it away because it's really hilarious, but it reminds me a little of the fractured Terry tales that were part of the cartoon Rocky and Bullwinkle. Will we be seeing more of Uncle Bob and his storytelling in future Mondo productions?
well, I never know what's going on up here,
I
what will come out. So
see.
you never know, but that was just there was an old fable about an ant and a grasshopper, and the grasshopper played his fiddle, and the ant stored away all his food for the winter. And I say, patooey on all that. I'd much rather be the grasshopper because he's having fun. He's mastering his instrument, and
Sure.
um, and that was the seed, the genocide, not the genocide, the genocide, some French thing. That was the reason for me putting
Back
this
to the
down.
magazine.
Yeah, it's probably not genocide. That's probably too severe. But anyway, to answer your question, you never know what's going to pour out of
Well,
the
we
window
love the character
between
of
the
Uncle
Mondo ears.
Bob. Well, okay, I'm going to take you a different place here. You did a lot of busking, the New York City subway system for many years. What was the most challenging part of that type of music making? And secondly, what was the best part of that lifestyle?
The most challenging was paying my rent on time.
Okay.
Um, and, along with very cold platforms or very hot platforms, uh, and the vicissitudes of a New York City crowd, what mood they'd be in for any various reasons. But yeah, there was no sense of of knowing where your next paycheck was coming from. But um but the best part was it was just like when I was doing that, I felt like this was the reason I was put on the earth to do. I was a pirate. I was a musician. I was a barker in Coney Island, at a
Yeah.
sideshow. I was everything that I always hoped to be in life. And and people pass by my case, and like if you're in New York City, especially, and you stand in one place, the whole world will pass by you at some point or another.
Yeah.
But when you're doing something as strange as busking in such a strange place, any strange thing can happen, and beautiful things too. I mean, there were like little ballet dances from little girls and looks that you wouldn't get from big girls, and just stories, people passing by, where everybody from the Wall Street tycoon to the guy that was eating out of the dumpster
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
everything in between. And, that was my audience, and no one needed to have the price of a ticket to get in.
That, I think that's an interesting thing. You don't need a price of a ticket. Well, I'm going to move you along because you have so many things that you got your hands in here, creatively speaking. I want to go to another one of the funny video productions that you have on Patreon. And It's again, I don't want to give it away, but boy, it's worth seeing if you are of a certain feeling about the nation at this point. Teflon Don has been brought down, is the title, I believe. It combines the news of that particular day with a broad look at American reaction that covers cameos of Tammy Faye, Jed Clampett, a person badly in need of dental care, and of course, a certain ex president of the United States, among other images. Again, dance plays a part of this as well. A technical question, I suppose, is what is your work process? Do you write down your ideas first, or you just start creating by adding parts and music as you go along?
Mostly, especially on my Patreon page. I'm on the Patreon page. I'm basically having fun and
Cool.
hoping that that's infectious. But I basically come up with a concept or like a bit of monkey business in my head, and then I figure out how I could get that idea into another person's head that might be looking at my Patreon page.
Okay. Well, everything I've seen on the Patreon page is just really entertaining. It's the best way I can put it. And I
The
recommend
best
anybody
part
out.
about that is for $5, you get it all. It's
Yes,
like
you.
going into Dunkin' Donuts and you
Uh-huh.
put down the price of one donut and you keep eating more and more donuts all day.
Yeah, I would completely concur. I still haven't gotten through all of them actually, but every single one is like uh, uh, just totally enthralling in its own humorous, bizarre, mondo way. What would you say is the
Simply
difference?
stated.
Yeah, I'm starting to become influenced under a bad influence, I think.
Hey,
uh,
your mom said you can't hang out with.
yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time. Uh, what would you say is the difference between working with a stipple project, which, by the way, I want to remind everybody, anybody who goes on Facebook, you need to check out Luke's stipple work. It's absolutely astounding. And actually, that's how I found Luke Ryan because every day he's putting this stuff out, and it's just unbelievable how talented he is in that world. So, what would you say is the difference between doing a stipple project and creating a video?
First, I would like to explain what stipple is.
I think you should,
Stipple
yeah.
is spending a ridiculous amount of time putting dots on a page to emulate shading and
Hmm.
form. And that becomes very meditative. Like it draws from a different part of the Mondo head where um, my art training and being an artist and hoping to create something that has a modicum of beauty, shall we say. But it's just a meditative process. And most of everything else I do, including all the mistakes I get into in life, uh, are like just having fun. it's all it's all mondo monkey business, and there's great joy in that. But the stipple
Sure.
and the photorealistic art is a different thing, and it draws on, everybody's very complex, and it's nice to celebrate the complexity of who you are.
Yeah,
That's
I would,
like do.
and, in looking at some of your stipple work, you have a way of capturing, I don't know how to put this exactly, a character, like the difference between black and white and color photographs. Black and white will pick up something that color just can't get,
Mhm.
about the soul of that subject, as it were, for lack of a better word. Is there any observation or subject you would like to do in video that you have not done yet?
In video, I just allow it to be free range. I just, wait for the next inspiration to come up. Like today, I woke up this morning, which is a good start, by the way,
Yeah.
especially at my age. And I was thinking, wow, I'm going to put a little video together about AI because it's such an important and profound subject, but it's also so science fiction and so
Ah,
ludicrous at the same time. And I got some things going on. I don't want to give it away, but I got, I was coming up with a bunch of concepts which I'd like to put down into like a little weird
sure.
Mondo video.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. And I can't reiterate enough, slap down your $5, go on Patreon and check out Luke Ryan. You will not be disappointed. And
It's
there
half
was
the
one
price
in
of a cappuccino.
yeah, yeah.
The
Well,
monkey, the
there's a
coffee.
couple that I really like. One being the one with the monkey. Speaking of monkeys, is hilarious. And then there's one that you do that's more on the serious. It's almost like a lecture on how to do the stipple thing.
Oh
It was
yeah.
very fascinating. It was really fascinating to see how that works because it's the work that you do looks like the photograph. It's just astounding. Well, before I let you go back to your Mondo world, and God knows what all that entails, um, I'm delighted to say I'm glad you came on Empire Radio Sounds, first of all. Thank you. This is
I
basically,
also I also would like to say, if you want to hear some kick-ass saxophone playing and some thoughtful, lyrical, just songwriting, this is the man right here. Marcus is the hardest working man in rock and roll.
well, I'm still standing, so that's pretty good. And I can still make it through a 3 hour gig, and I'm having a lot of fun. Still having a lot of fun. But thank you for that plug. I'll take it. And like I said, this is usually a music production, Empire Radio Sounds, but you cross all of the arts really, because a lot of the all the video stuff you do, which I neglected to mention, that's your music going on in the background, which is fascinating in its own right. So again, I can't urge people enough to check this out. But my last question, Colonel Mondo, I promoted you from captain to colonel. You jumped like, let's see, captain. You jumped lieutenant colonel and major. So, Colonel,
Sir,
looking back
reporting
at
for
your
duty.
looking back at your busking days in New York City, is there any advice you would give or offer to a young person wanting to do that sort of life in New York City?
Dress warm or
Address more.
very loosely in the summer, and make sure just make sure you have fun doing it. It's a good idea to be good because
Hmm?
then you could pay the rent if unless you're living in your mom's basement. But just try to be as, set your bar high, try to become better each day, and being out playing on the platforms or the streets of any city is a training ground for learning how to be a consummate musician and performer, and take
Yeah.
advantage of that. And while you're doing it, just make sure, life is made up of time. So make sure you're spending your time having a good time.
Okay, well, that sounds like good advice, Doctor. Now I call you
Look,
Doctor.
look out for number one and don't step in number two.
That is about the most profound one could get, I think, in this life. So I'm going to sign off till the next time. I'm sure we're going to see you again on Empire Radio Sounds.
It's been so good. I appreciate this
For our audience,
opportunity.
well, you're always got a welcome mat out here at the studio here that is virtual, of course. And we'll see you next time, Captain. All right. Talk to you soon.
Got it, pal. Adios.